Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday Build. This is episode 1.30, and today we're going to be discussing the topic, what is a harmonized ecosystem? How to create tightly aligned and auto-synced systems featuring Softer, HubSpot, Clio Manage, and Gavel. My name is Brittany Hernandez, and you can call me the beet emoji or bee or peanut or brittle as you like, as my uncle and my dad like to call me. I'm from San Diego, California, but I live in London now. I previously served on active duty in the United States military. I'm also a lawyer, a founder and CEO. I also have a master's degree with distinction in international film business. I previously worked for a legal tech company called Vala, based out of Scotland, as their business development executive. I'm also a Gavel expert, which is all into the no-code, low-code development space. I'm also their global ambassador to law schools for Gavel, the program director and senior instructor for the Law Students in Legal Tech Access to Justice Fellowship. I'm the founder, course creator, and senior instructor of Creme Academy, where we have courses in certification courses in Gavel, as well as certification courses in Go Full Page, and then just easy to follow instruction in Softer and Airtable. I'm also the creator and host of the Lightning Talks for Legal Innovators series, which we're going to be doing tomorrow for Gareth Pronovost, who's going to be here talking with us about how he was able to turn his consultancy business for no-code consultancy into a seven-figure empire in less than 36 months. I'm also the creator and host of this series, and the creator of a free interactive digital magazine called Code Word Hex, a free weekly newsletter called the Tuesday Forecast. And I'm also the founder of Creme Retreats, where once a year I have different female founders from around the world who get together in places like Brighton, England, and Lisbon, Portugal, for example. And we just connect with each other, learn from each other, and grow our businesses. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be discussing the topic, what is a harmonized ecosystem, how to create tightly aligned and auto-synced systems. So I've been thinking about this a lot as I've been revamping our Gavel Silver certification course. And the reason for this is I've been really focusing on how we can make sure we are following the user's journey from beginning to end with us within our life cycle. And when we say end, obviously that's going to be more of the flywheel that you see with HubSpot's approach, where we take the same customers and we re-engage them at different parts throughout their user's journey, so that we're able to fulfill the needs that they'll have at different points along their journey for whatever problems they're trying to solve. So with thinking about this and thinking about how to teach someone about how to be a Gavel expert and be certified in that, I really needed to kind of take a step back and think about how we actually have this system integrate with the other tools that we use as well, because it has some native integrations with Clio and Stripe, for example. But we also have to think about, where does it come up? Where does someone first encounter? When do they first create their account as a user, as a client, for example, and do they do that at all? Different questions like, where is the start of the user journey and how do we attract leads? And then how do we then turn those into people who would use our software that we've created using Gavel? So when I was thinking about this, I did a lot of research and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the best and easiest and least expensive tools to still accomplish the same goal, while having a very tight and lean and aligned system all the way across the board. And I struggled because I have my own favorite tools that I like to use, and I had to really justify and take the time to think about why these tools should be used versus other tools that may accomplish the same thing, but in a slightly different way. So it forced me to really analyze why we might use certain things. And actually, what's interesting is I ended up, at the end of the day, using the tools that I ended up teaching in the Law Students in Legal Tech Access to Justice Fellowship, which are things like Softer, HubSpot. We went over Clio Manage a little bit, but we didn't focus on it as much because it wasn't the biggest part of our piece of our puzzle, but then also Gavel. So this one's going to incorporate Clio Manage just to show, if you had like something like a legal practice management software, how that could be auto-synced with your customer relationship management software and your content management system or your CMS, which is something like your website, for example. And then why you might want to use these different pieces so that you can grow and scale in the future and stay organized along the way and have everything really tightly aligned with each other. So I chose as the starting point softer, but I'm going to first explain why I didn't go with two other tools. So the first thing is to note that Clio actually has Clio Grow as well, which would serve or could serve as a kind of companion to Clio Manage, as well as serve as the CRM. So you wouldn't necessarily need something like a HubSpot, for example. So I'll show you what that looks like and how that might work. So if you had Clio Grow, this would be a good place for you to start, actually, if you already had it and you were already using it. The only problem I found, there's like a couple of different pieces, and I actually think this is quite a robust and great tool. So I'm not trying to knock it in any way. I think that it solves a lot of the problems that lawyers have, and especially this like kind of initial intake. The only problem that I really found that I wish that they would fix soon is the fact that when you have something created in like a contact, for example, created in Clio Grow, it doesn't auto sync with Clio Manage. So they're two separate systems and their backends are different and their purposes are different, but it makes it hard because other tools like a HubSpot, for example, does have the ability and is free. That makes it to where you can integrate and seamlessly auto sync with Clio Manage. So I would say for now, there's a couple of things that I would say Clio Grow needs to improve upon in order for me to be able to recommend it. And I've already given this feedback to that team, which is they need to auto sync with Clio Manage and really be tightly aligned, because right now you have to manually export a contact from Clio Grow into Clio Manage, which obviously just takes a second, but it doesn't sync back and forth when you make changes. So I think that that is one of the biggest problems. The other is that it's a little bit hard to actually sign up for Clio Grow. Because if you go to their pricing site, for example, you'll see that you're able to start a free 7-day trial of Clio Manage, which is great. So you can try here, try here, try here. But Clio Grow itself is actually an add-on and has some initial fees for setting up. So for example, you have to pay a one-time account setup fee for $399. And then it's also $49 per user per month, I believe. Let's see. So I can't remember if it's per month, but you can see that it's additionally $49 outside of Clio Manage. So they're really seen as separate systems because from my understanding, Clio Manage was kind of Clio's product and everything, but Clio Grow was actually an acquisition. So that's why it's having a hard time integrating. But whoever's out there listening can correct me if I'm incorrect there. But the point being that, in my opinion, even though that may or may not be the case, even third-party software companies like HubSpot, for example, have had the ability to have these two integrate and auto sync. So I do think that Clio should have this feature included in this bundle and have it easier for us to try them for free for the 7 days so that we can sync and see how they work together. But right now you have to request a demo in order to get both of them at the same time. So just some feedback there for Clio, which I said, this is a very robust system that I think is very good and has some really great features as far as reporting goes. They do have the ability to make it to where you can create your website very easily using this kind of toggle on sort of configuration here, where you can add a contact form, add appointment booking, add a client portal, firm telephone, and so on. So you can customize it in some ways and not in others, of course, but it would be a good landing page for your new leads and incoming leads. You can actually see an example of this. Let me just see an example website. So basically with Clio Grow, you could build a tool or a website like this where you have which area you serve. You can have a client login portal here for their Clio Connect accounts. They can make payments here as well. Somebody can book a consultation using the kind of appointments section here that can be configured quite easily. Somebody can then also pay at the time of booking. So let's say, for example, they want to go here. We can make it to where they continue to payment, which is pretty cool. So that's really useful. contact, there's a contact form here for general inquiries, and you can book a consultation as you saw before. They can have all of these different pieces on this kind of site, which I think are very good. So as I mentioned, it's not a knock to Clio Grow. I just think that there are two things and two specific reasons why I personally would choose a HubSpot over this for now until a couple of things are updated in Clio Grow. The first of which is kind of the idea that I need Clio Grow to sync automatically with Clio Manage without us having to manually export anything, and for them to always be in harmony with each other. And then the other one being the setup. So the ability to actually try the tool for 7 days for free and to just like set up your account without having to do a demo or having like some separate setup fee or whatever else, I think is a little bit clunky from a user standpoint, from a buyer's standpoint. So that's kind of why I chose not to use Clio Grow for the website and for the CRM. The reason I tend to go with HubSpot for a lot of my recommendations is because they have a free CRM, a free version of their CRM that is very easy to set up, and that still is quite powerful considering the fact that it's free and has some limited features. They still give you enough features that if you're by yourself and you play your cards right, you could actually do quite a lot for a while before you would have to start paying. So I think that that's pretty robust as far as for a free CRM, and then it can grow and scale with you as you go along. It does get expensive later on. I mean, that's true for sure. I do use this personally for my own business, but also for all of my demonstrations. I generally use this one partially because of the fact that it has such a great marketplace for app integrations. So I'd highly recommend you just checking it out and seeing what works for you. But the reason why I'm bringing it up at this juncture is that it also has the ability to make it to where you can build your website here. So I can't quite show you my actual one, but just know that they do have, it's a very robust website builder that's no code that I think is really good. The only thing is that in order to get the analytics reports, you do need to upgrade. And the other piece is that even though it has all of these amazing features, it's a little bit less customizable because you need to use a template that another developer made, and you can add your own pages and everything too. But it's a little bit harder to work with as far as if you wanted to quickly and easily build out like a client portal yourself and change out customize your domain name and these types of things. So I ended up recommending overall Softer as the website and starting place, mostly because you have there's a free version of the account. So you can also have a 30-day free trial of the whatever next stage you want to go to. But even if you have the free version, you still are able to customize one of your domains for free. So if you were wanting to acquire like a custom domain, something like www.yourname.com or yourcompanyname.com, then you would be able to take that one and tie that to this website for free if you just use one. So I think that's very good. And you can also go up to 3, and then you can have additional ones after that. But that's just to say that's pretty good. And also it's very easy and intuitive to use as far as a website builder. All you have to do is say new application. You can choose from a template, or you can start blank. Let's say we start blank and we connect our data source later. We can just start with this. We can start with all of these different template pages or not. And we already are able to come here into this builder. We can add a block, for example, let's say a footer. So let's say we just come here, we look for footer, look for what we're trying to use. Let's say I use this one, for example. We have sections, and we can just add blocks super easily. We can also delete blocks really easily as well. So let's say I wanted to delete this one here and delete this one here. I can just do that very quickly. I can add a new block, let's say a static one that's a header, and one that has header with categories. And I can preview this very quickly and easily like this. And then I can go ahead and make any adjustments that I want, do any customizations, add in any images and more, and go ahead and simply publish. So I'm just going to quickly turn off show user profile and turn on fixed header. And you can see here that we can also change things like the visibility of these blocks very easily by just saying logged in users only, non-logged in users, or everyone. The customization is very simple, and also it's very robust as well, in the sense that you can customize this quite a lot. So you can see here that you can publish this. You can add your own custom domain here. You can actually just have a free subdomain here, though, if you want, by changing this part here. And it would be something like your company name.softer.app. And you can just use that one if you don't want to, or you don't have a custom domain. If you have a paid plan, then you're able to add in things like custom code, for example. So if you wanted to come down to under static and go down to custom code, you could add that custom code block here and put in your code right here. So there's lots of different options, and it's really a simple user interface to do so. The other thing is you're also able to really turn this into a very sophisticated application and not just a website or landing pages or blog or something. This can actually turn into a full application. So meaning you can have users and you can have user groups, and you can have these different things show or hide depending on whether they bought a particular product. So you can really build this out from being a very simple website or landing page into a full application as you get more sophisticated and as your business grows and your needs grow from this starting point. So that's kind of why I decided to steer away from the Clio Grow website builder and the HubSpot builder, and steered more towards using Softer, because I just really believe that this is a very easy to use for any kind of beginner. It's very no code. It's very just add block, look for the one you're looking for, click on it. But then it also allows you lots of customizations and allows you to really scale and also build into more sophisticated aspects of this platform as you go along from any starting point. So for example, this website here that I've created, I'll just move this down a little bit. You'll see that this one I've made is highly customized, but this is actually from Softer. And I made this with this very same base template that you see here, using the same header that I just showed you. So this is the same actually as this, with just some customizations. I use this same hero here with some customizations by taking off this image and adding my own custom image on the back, just updating the content here. This section actually appears down here, where I have some resources for my visitors to my website. And then I have this same footer all the way down here with some customizations and updates. I've just added a few more blocks here to have an About Us section. I have our services section. I have that resources section with those 3 blocks, a what our clients say section here, and then a call to action here to book a consultation. So that is, from this kind of user journey standpoint, this website is that it's actually the second stage usually in somebody's journey, because you usually have some type of marketing material that is out in the world somewhere. So let's say on like a Facebook or an Instagram or TikTok or something that then draws the person to you as a brand or as a person or as a company, and then takes you from that marketing place over to this website, where you would be able to give them more information about your services and what you do and what your company does or your firm, and then lead them through a user journey here on your website or your particular landing page, as it were, if you're doing some A/B testing. And then you want to let them know what it is you offer, what it is you do, so that person can quickly scan through and make sure that they're looking at the right place. And if they are not, they can quickly go away. Or if they are, they know exactly what you want them to do in order to talk to you. So in my case, when we're thinking about that from a long-term strategy perspective and how things link together, the reason why I didn't use for our book a free consultation or our contact us page more specifically using the inbuilt Softer options, because you do have the ability to put in a form, for example, that actually can go to different places. You can have this sent to your email, for example. The reason why I didn't go with this particular one, even though it's very good, is that what I want is for everything to fit seamlessly together. So in that, what I mean by that is when I say contact us, I want the information that is here to feed directly into my CRM, which, as I mentioned in this case, is HubSpot. And the reason that I want it to link directly into HubSpot is that I have it set up through the app marketplace with Clio, my legal practice management software, to automatically sync the data back and forth between HubSpot, the CRM, and Clio Manage as the legal practice management software. So when someone wants to contact us, I want that information, and I have it set up to where that conversation is going to go directly into my HubSpot inbox, where I can check out what is here in the form. So this is exactly what was this message was in this particular form. That person gets automatically added as a contact here. And then that contact is automatically synced over from HubSpot into Clio Manage here, which means at the end of the day, when I'm trying to do anything with that contact, I already have their information here. So when I run my internal workflow where I want to choose, let's say, a matter, for example, and or a contact from Clio Manage, because this is synced together now with Gavel here, then that means that I can see demo, and I can just have this 1 or 2 question here, and I can sync that directly into my Word add-in, where I have all of these different options just from knowing and choosing which Clio contact I want to use for this particular document or matter. So that's how everything syncs together without having to add any more questions about what is your middle name, what's your last name, and what's this. If we already have the information stored in Clio Manage, we'll automatically be able to access that within our Gavel accounts. So the flow would go that you would have software as your starting point, or let's say you'd have your marketing material that starts from, some way that you're pulling people to your website. So using software as your base website, and then having those contact forms and consultation bookings be the HubSpot consultation bookings and forms. So in this particular case, this 15-minute free consultation is from the sales meetings here. So you can see we have this initial 15-minute free consultation that we can configure as we need to. And this makes it to where somebody can come in here, they can put in their first name and their last name and their email address, confirm, they'll already automatically get a Zoom link. They'll also automatically get a message that gives them some information. And you can see all of that and how that would work here. They have a reschedule link, a cancel link, and so on. I mean, I actually really, really like Calendly as well. The only reason why I haven't recommended Calendly in this particular case is I'm imagining this being more of a firm setting, and with Calendly, which is super awesome as a tool, and I'll just show it to you really quickly. Calendly here is the only thing is that if the point is that everything syncs back to your CRM, you are able to link Calendly to HubSpot from their integrations here. So if you can see here, you can do Calendly plus HubSpot, which is actually what I do personally. The only thing is that you would need to have be the admin on the Calendly account. And you also, I think, need to have a paid account on Calendly. So it wasn't ideal for me to be able to recommend this in the particular instance that I was using it for this demonstration, because I would want this to be kind of linked specifically to HubSpot without them having to have a paid Calendly account. And there's no need for you to have this particular one necessary to have a Calendly account with a paid account when you can have a free booking page within your CRM that automatically makes them a contact. So it just kind of takes out a step if you just use the one that they've given you here, at least just for this one initial consultation, just to get them into the system. And then you can use whatever you want after that. So that is the kind of first flow here that I've set up, is that I have the calls to action on this page very clear that you can contact us, you can book a free consultation, or you can kind of learn more. Eventually I'll add more like learn more here or learn more here buttons, and have these be things that they can kind of click into and learn more, etc. if they're not quite ready to book a consultation or contact us right away. But right now I have contact here, book a free consultation here, contact us here, and book a free consultation here. So it's very clear when somebody comes to the website what it is we want them to do, and that information would automatically feed into our HubSpot accounts or CRMs. As I mentioned, this is important because not only will it give us a chance to have this centralized inbox, for example, where we're able to go in and delete conversations or review conversations or assign conversations, for example. But this makes it to where we're also able to share this throughout our entire organization. So we have different users on the account, and we can make sure that whenever someone comes in, there's always someone who's able to respond to them. We can add comments, we can email them directly from in here, and then everyone will be able to see and have transparency and clarity about the status of all these different matters that we create. So as I mentioned, because of the marketplace being so great within HubSpot with Clio, for example, you're able to easily install this application for free, as you can see, and you're able to map these fields over together. So you can see here that the companies map over, the people map over, and the matters and deals map together as well. So in this particular example, if we go over to sales and deals, we'll be able to see that we have a matter here called Qureshi. And if we go over to our matters here, we'll be able to see that same one as well. And if we click into it, we'll be able to see the activity and the contact information and which contact is associated and so on. So these are really tightly aligned together, which is really, really important. So within here too, as I mentioned, you're able to automatically sync this to your automation infrastructure, which is Gavel in this case. And you can do that by going over to integrations within your account, coming down to Clio Manage. In my case, it's already linked, but it would just give you the opportunity to choose what your domain is, which is, in this case, mine is eu.app.clio.com. So you can say, in my case, EU, or there's a CA one for Canada. And then if you're just in the US, which is the default, then you would just see app.clio.com. So in that case, you'd pick that one, and then you just say link account. And then once you link account, you'll just allow them to sync together and read each other's information. And in that case, that's how you're able to make it to where you can see, clicking from this one matter, this particular output here, which is this matter that we've seen here. And we're also able to see our different contacts that have synced here as well. So if we delete something in Clio Manage, then it's going to be deleted here as well, and everything will be up to date, as well as if we delete or add anything in HubSpot. So no matter where we're working from, we're able to have everything tightly integrated together, which is super important. So as I mentioned, once you get over to this stage where you have the information that is feeding from your, let's say, matter information here, where we can see all of the different information, such as the location and the client reference number and the open date and the originating attorney and all of these different pieces, also the contact that's associated with that, their phone number and their email and their address. All of these different pieces will actually feed straight over into here, where from here, we're able to, let's say if we have this one here where I just only need 2 pieces of information, let's say the matter and the contact. And actually, if you have the matter and you just need the information from the primary contact that's associated with that, you wouldn't even need this second question. You would just need one question and then have that tied to whatever documents output that you would need, or whatever other information you're trying to facilitate through this particular process. But as I mentioned, if we go into our Word add-in, so if I open up my sample Word that I have over here, this document here, you'll be able to see this free Gavel Word add-in. So you can actually just go to Insert, and you can come over to Add-ins, go to the Get Add-ins section here, go to the store and look for Gavel. Once you do, you can just say Add and then say Continue. That's going to add that to this over here, where you just create an API key from your dashboard. So if we go back to our dashboard here, you'll be able to see that you can create your API keys from settings. So you just put in a name such as like Word add-in, for example, say create a key. That's going to give you your key, and then you just link that over here and also use your custom domain or your subdomain. to sign in. Once you do, you'll be able to see your workflows from here. So in my case, you can see all of my workflows that are listed here are also showing up here as well, including this Clio test, which is what we're going to use now. So in this Clio test, you'll see that I have just the two questions where I have the matter and the Clio contact. You're going to see that information under simple variables here that we can then do stuff with. So if I wanted to see all of the questions and variables that I'm able to play with from using this particular feature, all I have to do is say insert variable from choosing insert all questions and variables. And I can see what's available to me. I can see the Clio matter number, the display number, the custom number, the description, the status, the location, the billable, whether it's billable or not, the mail drop address, and so on and so on and so on, all the way through. And then once we get down to Clio contact, which is switching from the information from this one to this one here, you'll be able to see that we are able to see their name, their first name, their middle name, their last name, what type of contact they are, what I think it's like person or company, for example. And then you can see all of these other pieces here as well. You'd also be able to see custom fields if we created any custom fields, for example, but you can see all of these different options. So in our case, what that actually looks like, since I went through and actually did this in a previous example, is in the case of our matter of Qureshi, which is our 00001, we can see this is our first matter out of all of them. This is the display number that we'll see. We could see if there was any custom number, and then we can see that this is a distribution contract review for, because our person is a filmmaker in this particular case. So if we can go here to edit matter, you'll be able to see that this is pulling from the matter description. We can also see that the status here is open. We can see the, so if we wanted to pull this information for any reason, we could. We'd also be able to see the location if there was one, that it was billable or not. So we'd be able to see that from down here as well. This matter is billable. So you'll see like how this is all linking together, what the billable method is, open date, created date, close date, et cetera, et cetera. You can also see all the information about the originating attorney, the responsible attorney, the user who was actually created this when they made it, the client. So this would be the client's ID, their name, their first name, their middle name, and their last name. So their name is going to be their full name with middle initial, with middle name if they have it. So this is their full name. You can see, like I said, person type versus company, when it was created, their prefix, their title, meaning their, like if they are working, for example, their initials, which would be their first initial and their last name initial, primary or secondary email address, et cetera, et cetera. How many addresses they have and how many email addresses they have and how many phone numbers they have, if you needed that information. Also, you'd see their work address. You'd see all of the information related to that. You'd also be able to see their primary address, their secondary address information. And then this is going to go all the way down into their company as well, if there's one associated with them. So in this case, for example, our client that we have associated with this one. So if we go back here and go into contact, we'll be able to see that with this example, this person is associated with this company, which we also can have the information pulled from and about through just clicking the matter, because the matter is linked to the client, which is linked to this company that they're associated with. So this is how this all fits together. If we go into the contact variable options now, we'll see that same information is pulled because I chose that contact when I chose this particular question when I ran this at this point. And the reason for this is because I wanted to just see what it looks like. But you can see that I actually could choose someone else. Like if I wanted this to be demo, for example, rather than this person here, then I could choose that and it would have different outputs here, while the person who is associated with this section up here under Clio matter would be the client that's associated with that matter and the company that they're associated with, for example. So like I said, I could have chosen someone else here, but this is what this looks like if I chose this. If we come down as well, then you'll see that. So I did this all by hand actually, because I wanted to kind of group it a little bit differently than when you just insert all. But with the exercise that we went through, a couple of minutes ago, where we just inserted all questions and variables, looks like this when it's filled out. And then I went down and did it for just inserting all variables as well, just to see what it looks like. So it's really handy to do this just because you're able to just see like, okay, what variables do I not need to create? And maybe what variables do I need to create? What would I actually use and what wouldn't I use? That kind of a thing. So I just made this template where I just loaded this up into the back end here, where you'll be able to kind of just put in this one, for example, the Clio variables output doc. I just renamed it from this one here and made it to where it comes out as both a Word doc as well as a PDF, just so I can see. I just want to know what's available to me when I run this, so I don't waste any time creating variables that already exist for me once they've been filled in Clio. So that's how these different pieces fit together into what I like to call a harmonized ecosystem, where the harmonized ecosystem consists of your content management system or your website, also then that feeding into, and the information and leads feeding into your customer relationship management or CRM software. And then if you're, let's say, a lawyer, for example, that feeding into your legal practice management software automatically and having them tied together really tightly. And then because you have that integrated with your automation infrastructure, in this case, Gavel, for example, then that's automatically syncing with Clio Manage. So your CRM, your legal practice management software, and your automation infrastructure are all synced in harmony with each other. And when one is updated, the other is updated as well. And you have that software studio and your website and your CMS platform offering that landing page and that kind of starting point for your user's journey through booking a consultation, submitting a contact form, that all feeds directly into each piece along the way from that starting point all the way down to you delivering whatever product or service you need to your client. So this is something that we go over in the Gavel Silver course, where you'll actually learn how to create a website. You'll learn how to connect that website to a Google domain, custom domain that you create. You're also going to be able to create your free CRMs and see how to link these two things together using a form and a booking page. You'll also be able to link that together and have that auto sync and integrate with the Clio Manage, where that is going to then automatically sync with your Gavel account. So through this process, you're going to see and be a better Gavel expert or user, because you're going to see how Gavel can fit within the tools that you already use and harmonize and sync with them automatically all the way through this process, so that you're able to serve your clients instead of spending all of this time with manual data entry, for example. Through Silver, we're also going to teach you how to integrate Stripe so that you can add paywalls, for example, how to use Zapier to send information not only from from Clio Manage to Gavel, where that auto syncs through that native integration, but also how to use Zapier to send information from Gavel back into Clio or into HubSpot as you need. So all of these systems, as I mentioned, are going to need to sync very tightly together and work in harmony with each other, while you're still able to pick up the tools along the way of what's needed for being a sophisticated Gavel user in this particular case. So just to show you this piece one more time from the beginning to end. So you would have your user start from wherever they are, whatever problem they have. You would have your, let's say, your press releases or your blogs or whatever. Let's say you put them on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube videos, whatever would then attract your leads to you. And then you engage them and educate them here. Give them a call to action with very clear directions. Book a free consultation, contact us, learn more. And then having that be a page that they can then work through and go through from top to bottom. That information is tied directly to your CRM, which then syncs automatically with your legal practice management, which syncs automatically and integrates with your automation infrastructure, and so on and so on and so on. So from this also, I wanted to show you that I also used Canva to create these images in the background to get these custom background kind of shapes and designs. So I was able to do that. As I mentioned, you can have a free Canva account. I love it. I use it for so many different things. But I made it with this kind of template here, where I just went through and played with some colors and some shapes and some designs and placement of these different things. I also took a little bit of inspiration from the website Architect, which I highly recommend you check out. This one here, because I really liked how he has this section right here where there's like little gears and this kind of cool background. And I was like, how did he do that? That's so cool. So I wanted to have my own kind of same, not the same, but a similar type of background that has some elements of interest like this, like he had with the gears. So what I did is I just went through and I looked at elements and I looked for things like circles and like boxes or rectangles and that kind of a thing. So I played with these different shapes, put them through here, tried them in different colors, tried to keep a consistent theme, which having, dominant colors such as black to make the white really pop out, yellow to add as a kind of a highlight, and then white to keep it really nice and clean and professional looking. And then I added these different elements together with this kind of gray so that it would not be too distracting, but still have some element of fun. This one here, I chose to go with an all black background with this image on the right, so that this could be really noticeable and readable. And then I just flipped things around. So let's say if I started with this one here, I would flip everything around so that I could put it in a different section and have it still be visually interesting. One thing I would recommend as you're doing something like this and designing something like this is to always remember to check how this looks on different devices. So on a tablet, a mobile, and a desktop, for example, a lot of people are using their mobile devices to interact with these different things. So see how that looks, because everything is going to get pushed together like this. So even if we look, for example, when we say preview, we'll be able to see this in action as well. So we can see how this looks and how this pushes together, where the images appear. And if we wanted to make any of these things hidden on mobile, for example, for whatever reason, what this looks like on the tablet and what this looks like on desktop. One thing I'll quickly mention since we're here is around phone calls, because I had a great conversation with a fellow Gavel user who works at a law firm where they get a lot of lots of different leads. And he was kind of sharing that a lot of them will just call on the phone. They won't necessarily go through this very clean, beautiful process of booking a free consultation, and they won't necessarily take the time to like fill out a client intake form, and that they would actually just be able to phone in, and then the paralegal or secretary or whomever or the lawyer themselves would just input the information into Clio Manage, for example. That's fine too. One thing I would recommend is that if you do have a phone number, you would still want to manage and track those leads coming in your CRM. So there is, let's say if you put your phone number here and your email address here, for example, your phone number can be linked to your HubSpot account. So if you see over here, there's like a calling feature here. This is just a demo account, so I don't have it here. But if you go into your settings, you'd be able to see you have a calling section here. So you would need to upgrade to the CRM Suite Starter, which is like 27 pounds a month, which is not bad. That makes it to where you're able to configure, you could have your own phone number, you could have this track calls and meeting types, for example. And that makes it to where when you go into your contact, you'd be able to see the conversation. You could make any notes while you're on the phone call, for example. So I would highly recommend that if you're going to have a phone number on your website and kind of available to other people, that you have that linked to your CRM so you can track what your conversation, what did you talk about, kind of refer to it for any notes, for example. And then as for the email address example here as well, you can also install the HubSpot Chrome extension, which makes it to where you're able to easily see different activities and notifications. You're also able to configure this pretty easily. And when you send or receive an email, you'll be able to add them to HubSpot if you'd like to. You'll also be able to, when you reply, put in or use any templates. You can insert a meeting, you can insert a task, a snippet, attach any documents, and you can have, if you have an upgraded plan, that'll have them write an email for you. So you'll be able to have these automatically logged and or tracked in your HubSpot CRM as well. Logging means that it's just going to appear on your contacts activity feed like this. So it would be something like email from or to, and then so on. And also you'd make it to where if you track, that means that you'd be able to see when somebody opened the email, and so on in real time, which is pretty cool. So that's just to show you how you can have all of these different pieces linked together. And my suggestion would be that when you create your websites and have that starting point for people to come into your domain and space, one, that it'd be consistently branded throughout, for example, with your brand up here, for example, but also and color themes. For example, here I have this kind of same styling for this page here, but also that anything that somebody can click on or see or interact with, that all of that leads into that CRM. So you can have everything in this kind of one place of truth, or a single source of truth, even your phone number and your email, by using these two pieces, which is the calling feature and that Google Chrome extension. So that is kind of a broad strokes overview of the ability to have this more harmonized ecosystem and how to create this tightly aligned and auto-synced system, and using tools like Software, HubSpot, Clio Manage, and Gavel, and how all of these tools can integrate seamlessly together. And if you have one piece and not the other, you can still see how this would still be useful as a concept for making sure that when you're building something, that everything links together very seamlessly from the initial contact with your particular lead or client, all the way through to your servicing them throughout the different stages within their life cycle with you. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I'll give you my contact information in a moment. Just to say, there's a few announcements. So this has been an episode of the Wednesday Build. So we have new live episodes every Wednesday, which you're welcome to join. I also put out the Code Word Hex issue every Tuesday. Also, the Tuesday forecast newsletter comes out every Tuesday. I also have the certification courses in Gavel, and we go over all of these different pieces step by step, and how to go from a blank page in Software to a fully built out, web page or homepage, how that links off into your CRM, how that links to your Clio Manage account, how that then can be integrated with Gavel, for example, and how these pieces all fit together. I also have courses in Software and Airtable, Go Full Page, with more to come. And you can join our Chromium community by signing up for the Wednesday Build, Code Word Hacks, Tuesday Forecast, and so on. As well as if you wanted to join and talk more about Gavel with the community, we have a very active Slack group that you're welcome to join for free. So thank you so much for those of you that are with me live, and for those of you that are on the recording, hello. And I'm really excited to talk to you next week about how to know what you don't know, strategies for troubleshooting and doing things you've never done. So this is really fun for me because I think about this a lot. You're always kind of starting from somewhere where you have enough skills. You want to acquire enough skills to be able to sort of figure things out, even if you don't know everything. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or via email at brittany@chromium.pro. For any inquiries relating to Gavel's law school program, just go ahead and email me at brittany@gavel.io so I can keep those separate. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.